Back on the AWS workshops, folks, and on a security tip again, I conducted this DevSecOps integrating security into your pipeline today. It was, a very interesting little workshop because I'm not used to using CloudFormation, as recently I've been heavily using Terraform, and it was a really good insight into how granular the Lambda functions can go to actually, scrape out any vulnerabilities in the CloudFormation templates, and that's exactly what this workshop was about. It allowed you to go in and check for unencrypted Elastic Block stores on one of the functions. Another one was there to check for any keys that were in the code that shouldn't be there, and also another function was there to check for misconfigurations in S3 buckets, for example S3 bucket versioning. There was another little carrot dangled as well to obviously go in and do a little bit more, which was port 21 being left open on this security group. That was another function, but the workshop actually didn't take you through that. I believe they were just trying to get you used to it, which you will be by the time you reach this stage, because it's not a large CloudFormation template. You'd be comfortable enough to be able to change these port numbers here to, for example, port 23, because port 20 and 21 are old outdated file transfer protocols, which could be vulnerable to brute force attacks and passwords and authentication vulnerabilities as well there. So another good little one to know about with regards to, cybersecurity related topics, folks. And the more you do these workshops, like I've said in the previous ones, the more this stuff will become second nature, and it'll cement into that system, that brain of ours, okay? The workshop took me about 3 hours, folks. I would say give yourself that time to be able to understand things. It does encourage you in parts of the workshop to actually go in and look, to get these boxes of information in blue, actually look at the code and try to understand the bits and pieces of it, and you will see in the actual Lambda functions where the bits of code are that are actually doing the work, like finding unencrypted EBS volumes, finding keys that shouldn't be there, and obviously misconfiguration in S3. You will see that code if you just do the Control F, if you're utilizing VS Code, and it'll find the bits of the code in the Lambda functions when you go through them about what you need to actually understand, because the functions are big. But at the end of the day, folks, there's a lot of good frameworks out there that we can use again and adjust or edit the code to our needs, but always being secure. If you're not sure, just lean on your security experts. All right. So exactly what it says in the tin, this workshop, folks. I didn't find any nuances in it at all. Everything worked as it should. It was in US West 2 was the region that you had to deploy the code in, and everything worked fine. So it did. This is what is spun up here, little architecture. It's an AWS code pipeline, and you will be manually just uploading your changes to the CloudFormation template each time into an S3 bucket that you create. And then the status code analysis is the Lambda functions doing their work and allowing you to see failures or successes based on what they find. And then the other little test deployment manual and production deployment is just showing the pipeline and operation. You don't really delve much into this part of it, but it is worthwhile just going and actually getting an understanding of an end-to-end code pipeline. And there is many ways to do it, because the way that I've been working on it recently is different than this, but there's always different ways to skin a cat, as they say. So the code each time, or the workshop each time, folks, will take you through a lot of repeated steps, and by the end of it you will get a really good, comfortable feel of how to get around working on your code pipeline. And just to show you what the static code analysis part is, folks, and where the Lambda functions sit, these are them here. So this first one is put in here. This was to check for the unencrypted EBS volume. Then you put one in to scan for any keys that shouldn't be in the CloudFormation template. And then this one here was to check for the S3 bucket versioning was enabled. And then you would put another one in here as well, just to check for that port 21. And you'll see the Lambda function code. If you just Control F and go for, I'll show you here, just there it is there for checking for port 21, okay? And you could amend that code then when you see things like that, folks. It'll help you learn about how those functions are put together, you know, and if you're into your Python code, which they're coded in, then you'll probably understand them a lot better than I can, because I'm not a coding expert. But that was the workshop in a nutshell. I haven't cleaned it up yet. Like I said, there was no nuances in that there. Very good little workshop just to help you understand a little bit about static code analysis, which is something that's utilised in everyday projects in the real world. And that's what it's all about. These workshops are giving you some experience, folks. And as always, if you find something that I haven't explained in this workshop, it is a high-level overview, then please drop it in the comments. Or if you complete the workshop yourself and you find, you know, other things that are worth mentioning, then by all means make your own video, you know, give me a shout. I'm always willing to learn anything from anybody, regardless of, you know, what your background is or how long you've been in this game. So as always, I'll leave this one with you, folks. Wish you all the best. Take care and good luck.